Good morning and welcome to another pre-market review session with the Market Trader. My name is Ray, the Market Trader. And before we begin our session here, we'll need to review our risk disclosure. Okay, so we'll take a peek at that now. Hopefully, I'm coming across voice-wise, guys. If I can get a confirmation there, that would be helpful. All right, so it's okay, perfect. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our risk disclosure. All right, there it is. Okay, so just want to remind everyone that the content that's being published and distributed by the Market Trader and its affiliates is to be treated as general information only. None of the information provided by the company or contained herein is intended as investment advice and offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any security, company, or fund. We all understand that the use of this information contained herein is to be used at your own risk, and the company, its partners, representatives, agents, employees, contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. Future trading does carry a fair amount of risk and is not for every investor. An investor could potentially lose all or more of their investment capital. Only risk capital money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation or an offer to buy, sell futures, options, or Forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so now that we've gotten through the risk disclosure, apologize for the little technical difficulty with my mic, but looks like we're back on track. So let's go ahead and take a look at our news portal here and see what kind of news that we have coming up in the markets that could impact our ability to navigate them. Okay, so today we have Philly Fed Business Index that has a potential of impacting the markets. We have a number of Fed members speaking here. What I'm not seeing, and then maybe it's a result of the short week, is I'm not seeing any sort of notification here on EIA. Okay, so I don't know if there's an EIA report. They're maybe skipping this week. I'm not sure, but I don't recall seeing any sort of EIA indication here. So I needed to research that one a little bit more. In any case, we have a number of Fed members speaking throughout this morning. We have a 4-week bill high yield reporting here at 11:30. Okay. And then we close out the day with Fed member Miran. So relatively light, I would say, in with respect to news. I think even lighter tomorrow. A lot of. I think we're still running through some, I guess, earnings that will be continuing next week, but nothing at least on the scheduled news front that I see that could impact the markets in a serious way. Okay, so but we're always, as you know, we're always at the mercy of some sort of headline risk, right? There's always some headline risk that could potentially impact the market, so we have to be always wary of that. Okay. So we're going to go ahead now and turn our attention to our portal right here, and specifically our charting platform, and see what the market has in store for us today. Okay, so see what kind of context we can pull from the market to help us navigate the markets as best we can here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and redirect the screen here to the No Financial Juice. Interesting. Okay. Well, we talked through it. I'm going to go ahead and hopefully I'm going to pause here and make sure that you guys can see the chart. Okay. So hopefully you guys can see the charts. Don't know what's going on with. I'll pause here. Okay, perfect. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look here at the gold. All right. We'll start off with the daily chart, and surprise, surprise. Okay. I don't know if it's related to rollover or if there's something else going on, but you can see that we received a gap, right, open on the gold to the upside. We didn't really 100% fill this gap. Okay. But anytime you see a gap, right, that's an indication of some sort of strength in the direction here, right? So I don't know if this gap is a result of rollover. I don't know if gold is going through some rollover, okay, or whether this is an indication of some sort of strength. Yes, it's shooting to the moon. Yeah, I don't know. I think 5,000 is very much in the sights of gold here as if we continue in this fashion. Okay. So again, daily charts still indicates to us that there is still a fair amount of strength in this market. You can see with the volume delta bars that there is a lot of interest here to the upside. People are right now don't seem to are not afraid to add gold at whatever price to their portfolios. Okay, daily chart again indicates a good amount of strength here. So let's take a look at the 4 hour, see what we can glean out of the 4 hour. Looking at the 4 hour again, you can see kind of a little bit of a staircase here. Okay, we closed the day relatively strong with a bullish engulfing candle. Currently, we're developing a little bit in the way of a sort of a little bit of an indecisive candle, but nonetheless, it's at the top end of the range. Okay, so again, nothing here that indicates to us that there's any sort of weakness, right? Not any sort of weakness in this market, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at the. Let's see. Looks like I managed to get my. I don't know how that got there, but I might need to set up my initial balance here again. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the 30-minute chart. We'll do a little bit of analysis there and see what kind of context we can get from this market. Okay, so you can see that price is above settlement. This is our settlement price, right? Price is well above that. Okay, price likes to come back and revisit settlement, right? As often, right? You can see that price was hovering around settlement before it took off here to the upside. We're going to go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile, okay, and take a look and see what the market is telling us here a little bit. So let's see. We're going to go ahead and start with the start of the session yesterday here, okay, right about there, okay, and we're going to drag that across to the close of the session right about there. And again, surprise, surprise, okay, that we are above value, right? Okay, we have folks that are interested in remaining bullish on this market, right? We had price come back down to a value range, okay, and they said, "Look what I found! I found a discount in gold. Let me add to my portfolio." Right. So you see that price again right off the value area high from yesterday. What gave some folks some opportunities to add to their position. Now we're up at the closer to the extremes here, a little bit of an indecision candle. We did make an attempt to head higher. That's at least for now been temporarily rejected here. So what I'm going to do next here, I'm going to have to set this up manually because I lost my initial balance. So we're going to go ahead and open up this initial balance and then do a little bit of analysis across the market here and see. We don't need two of them. We'll just need one. But I'm going to modify this. Okay, input this. I'm going to change this to the 1 hour. I'm going to change the initial lines to yellow. I'm going to change my extensions, okay, to red. Okay, red color for my extensions. Okay, there's my extensions. And let's see, I don't necessarily extend line balance opening range fills during the overnight session. Okay, initial balance. Okay, highlight opening range. All right, let's go ahead and let's compare our initial balance ranges across the various markets here. Okay, so let's start off with the Asia session. All right, Asia was a little bit mixed, a little bit rangy, right? We got an extension to the upside. We got to the 50% extension, had some trouble getting above the 50% extension, and we rotated, right? This is, I don't know, somebody was asking me about a failed auction. This is a picture perfect failed auction, okay? We exited the initial balance range, could not sustain above, and eventually we rotated all the way down to the other side of the initial balance range, and before we found some buyers, and then we've been higher ever since as London, right? So So Asia was I guess maybe neutral to bearish, okay, of late. If we look at London here, okay, looking at London, you can see that London was, I guess, more to the bullish side than the bearish side, right? Again, we got a nice extension here to the upside, not quite the extensions that we normally witness, okay, in the gold. Looks like there is a little bit of a slowdown in the momentum to the upside, but nonetheless, price is above our initial balance. We have what appears to be kind of a news-driven kind of candle here, all right? That probably created some maybe a little bit wider range than normal here in the open of the U.S. session. But nonetheless, the market still remains above our initial balance range for London. Okay. And I would say that as long as it stays above 42.48, I'm going to go ahead and, kind of draw my little line here. Okay. To indicate to me that if I do get some sort of committed upward break here, in order to kind of remain aligned with the general direction, that could maybe offer me maybe an opportunity for maybe further upside. Okay. If we close back inside the initial balance range, rotating down to initial balance range before we make that move up, what might not be out of question here, right? So we had similar kind of thing happen here just prior to the London session, right? We had a nice rotation during Asia. We came back to the low end of the initial balance and to the prior value area high, and we found some buyers. Okay. So coming into this market, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can turn this to the US session here now that we are trading in the US. Okay. So you can see that candle is creating a little bit of a rather wide. I think this seems to be a little bit news driven to me. Okay. This candle here. So right now we see a fair amount of sellers coming into the market, but really are not really translating that in price candles so much. Okay. So there's obviously some interest here on the buy side. Okay. Looks like we still have some buyers lurking in this area. All right. So the selling, although still bearish, I guess I'm feeling more neutral on this candle than any sort of direction here. Okay. So let's go ahead and open up the visible range volume profile here. Let's open up my settlement price. Actually, I already have it open. All right. So we have settlement below us here. We have point of control below us. So the other thing I'm going to add here, looks like I turned off, ADR, we've already reached. Okay. So ADR, we've already reached to the upside. So this could be an area where we could get a little bit of a pullback. I'm going to see if I can find my EMA. There's my EMA and then VWAP, right? Okay. So there's all my things here. Okay. So we have price. We'll go ahead and remove this for now. We have price above. Did I just delete my initial balance? No, I did. Okay, good. All right. All right. So we have price has reached the statistical range to the upside. Would not be a surprise, and we've already gotten a little bit of reaction away from it. Okay. Whether we continue in maybe a little bit of pullback that would maybe take us back down to the point of control. That would be a pretty deep retracement, right? This is the point of control for the fixed, but we have reacted a little bit away from the VWAP. We really haven't, secured a bullish candle off of VWAP as of yet, and we still can still hold out for that. Okay, so again, for me, I'm a little bit leery. Okay, honestly. The fact that we've already reached the average daily range to the upside here, that could cause the market to maybe stall, okay? Stall or reverse here a little bit. I mean, we could end up hanging around up at the upper levels here since we've already reached the average range to the top side. What levels you have for value area high and value area low? It depends on what we're talking about here, but I think if we're looking at it on the prior range, I think I have, let's see, 4219.4 value area high, value area low, 4202, 42. So 42, 40, let's call it 4220 value area high and 4202 value area low. Okay, that's kind of what I have for value from yesterday. Okay, now this is a dynamic volume value area, right? So okay, this is a dynamic one, right? As I have more or less candles, this value range will adjust, right? So the less I have, the more visibility I have. So you can see here, right, that we are this value zone or these set of candles is indicating to me that we are in some sort of range, right? So the more candles I provide, that will adjust the visible range volume profile. But right now it appears that we are in some sort of range, possibly, a little bit of a trend here. So there's another kind of dynamic level here around 4240, which could potentially be supportive here. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that level as maybe potentially supportive. All right. And we'll mark that in green. Okay. So indicate that this area could be a supportive area. We have already kind of tried to react away from VWAP. Looks like the sellers are starting to get a little bit of a hold here on this market. All right, we have a volume delta bar to the downside. This candle is starting to create maybe a little bit of a body now to the downside. So this 4240 level is going to be an important level for me if we do manage to hold above it, or whether we maybe explore back down to maybe something like point of control. Not out of the realm of possibility that we come back down and stay in this kind of range down to 4215. So I'm gonna kind of my view. While I think on the higher time frame we're bullish, looks like on the shorter time frame we might be in some sort of range kind of price action. So I would say that we need some additional evidence, all right, on exactly which direction they want to take this. Like I said, we're at some locations of price reference levels that could cause the market to rotate, and it has to some degree. Now the question is how big of a rotation are we going to get before what I assume buyers are going to come in and step in at some point. Okay, point of control seems to be a logical area. Value area high we've already kind of talked on, and it's already kind of reacted away from a couple of times here. All right, so I think headed into the market, I would say I'm kind of neutral at this point. I feel like we're kind of in some sort of range. I'm going to wait for price to give me some indication as to which direction they want to take this. I'm going to use initial balance as kind of that reference point here, okay? So let's go ahead now and take a look at the crude oil market. All right, we'll take a peek at what the crude oil has to say. We'll start off with the daily chart. The daily, again, giving us indication. We were kind of identifying, I think we had mentioned in this market that what was it, 60 to 58 was kind of the range that it was in of late. You can see here that we remain inside some bearish structure here. Really hard to be a buyer, I would say, of gold. I mean, black gold maybe, of oil at this point in time. Okay, a lot of structure here to the downside. Again, we have this 63, 64 level above us that is that appears to be resistant to price. Right, this whole area above here is not going to be an easy area to get above. Okay, so we see that price is headed lower. Right, we're in some bearish structure here to the downside. Okay, on the daily chart. So let's take a peek at the 4-hour. Let's kind of zoom inside some of these daily candles and see if we can glean any additional insight as to the direction they want to take this market. Okay, so right now, right, we got a little bit of an impulsive move to the downside. Like I said, that 58 level, back here, right, came. Looks like found some buyers. Okay, but we haven't really been able to accelerate outside this range all that well, right? We've kind of stalled the further price movement to the downside, and now we've been barcoding, right? We've been barcoding of late, right? So not an area that I want to be a part of with respect to trade here. Okay, so market structure on the 4-hour, again, similar to the daily, still is indicating the further downside. Okay, I do see that maybe there is a little bit of a slowdown in some of the momentum to the downside, but the momentum, the structure remains bearish. Let's take a look at the 30-minute chart here. All right, and let's take a peek here at first. Let's start off with a fixed range volume profile. Okay, and we'll turn this off here for a second. So fixed range volume profile will locate the start of London here. We'll drag this across to the close. There it is. Not London, sorry, yesterday's session. Okay. So you can see that price is inside some sort of, oops. Okay, let's bring this back. Start of, there it is. Okay. So you can see that price is inside some area of balance, right? So really, it's telling me that there's really no consistent direction, okay, in this market. That that we are in some sort of range. We have settlement price here below us. So settlement price could offer us maybe a location where we could bounce. Okay, that is that 58 level that we were talking about earlier in the week, right? 58.25 is the potential bounce level, and that would allow us to maybe stay in some sort of range. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open up the initial balance here and see what the initial balance has to say about all of this. And we're going to go ahead and start off with the Asia session here and take a look and see what the Asia session has to say. And Asia was pretty much range bound, right? Nothing in Asia to write home about. It was only when we got to London that London managed to push price lower, right? So Asia was neutral. Okay. London managed, I think, to take it to the downside. They did. Okay. They extended price to the 50%. Price came back to the relative vicinity of VWAP. And the moment we think that, oh, look, we just got the perfect scenario to go long, right? We got price to close above our 90 MA, above our VWAP, only to find more sellers. Okay. So again, we always need to be cognizant of the sort of the higher time frame, kind of structure, right? Because these areas, even though they break, right, they provide us direction. When we have markets that have been ranging, okay, markets that have been ranging, they don't really serve us all that well. Okay. Now, if we have a sloping or kind of a directional kind of market and the VWAP is sloping to the downside or sloping to the upside, well, then these breaks of the 90 MA and the VWAP offer us kind of a good indication of maybe when we could potentially participate in the market. Right now, we don't have a market that is trending, at least in the short term, in any direction other than maybe bearish. Okay. Right. We're seeing some bearish price action. But like you said, like we saw in the higher time frame, we're in kind of a balanced area, right? Yeah, it's a little bit of a trap. It's a little bit of a trap, right? So we need to be cognizant of that. We are witnessing on the higher time frame that we are a little bit in range, right? We're kind of ranging here. So we have to be, I would say, really, really good about picking extremes of market. Okay, so 58, okay, 58 to the downside might be an interesting level. 60 to the upside might be another interesting level. And then we probably want to avoid anything in between. Okay, to be honest. Right now, I would say that it looks like we are in some sort of bearish swing. But given the fact that we are in range, I'm a little bit hesitant to really embrace it. Okay, until we can get maybe below 58, and then maybe that will allow me to participate. Okay, volume delta seems to be aligned. I'm gonna flash the ADR levels here really quick, but I don't suspect we have room on both ends. Okay, so we have the ADR level that is hovering right at that 58 level. Surprise, surprise! Amazing how this works here, right? 58, right? Is not only the an ADR low, but is also serving as the 200% extension of this of the range here, okay, of the London range. So if we're looking for a bounce point, if we're looking for a reversal zone, we could be picking a lot worse location than around 58. Okay, 58 seems to be a level that we could maybe use to maybe look for a reversal in price. Up until then, I would have to say that the market is neutral to bearish. Okay. All right. Now that we've gotten through at least a couple of markets here, I'm gonna call up my tax person and start to recruit folks to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're not already a subscriber, subscribe to the channel. If this analysis is supporting you and your review of the markets, I'd encourage you. All I'm asking you guys to do is hit the like button and hit the subscribe button and leave me a comment or two. All the other is a bonus, right? There's other avenues where you can kind of show me that that I'm bringing value to you. But all I'm asking from you guys is hit the like, hit the subscribe, give me a comment or two, right? That you my analysis is supporting your view of the markets. Okay. Okay. All right. So now that I've gotten at least one more like out of that. Hey, Sam Lin, how are you? Okay. All right. So let's go ahead now that I've gotten through that and got one additional person that came on board here. Perfect timing. Okay. Oh, was yours, Alejandro? Okay. I got one more. Excellent. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at the NASDAQ. And let's take a look at yeah, Sam Lin. Yeah, we need to. I need to get together with you and figure out how we're going to do this. I need to actually find a place where I can, reasonably produce it at a reasonable cost. But yes, Sam Lin, I do. I mean, I am interested in producing some T-shirts around the Lazy Lion. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ, guys. All right. DM me on Discord. I have a guy for that. I got you. Okay, excellent. All right, let's take a look at this. All right. So daily chart. Again, the thing that keeps bothering me, guys, is the fact that this candle right here. I don't know if it's just like a too ominous for me. But we have since that move, since that tweet, since that communication about getting tighter on China. Okay. All right, Larry, appreciate you. Okay. So we got this bearish candle as a result of some of the words from our president, right? And the market reacted in a very negative way. Okay. Since then, we've obviously been in some sort of bullish structure, but I still have a problem, and it's kind of maybe affecting my judgment here a little bit, right? I still see that we are inside this candle here, right? So we're not out of the woods, okay, so to speak, in potentially in the beginnings of some bearish structure in this market, okay? I don't think this bearish candle was by accident, okay, obviously, right? And now I'm kind of looking at this, and until we break this, until we make a new high, I feel like we're going to be in some sort of range, and then maybe there's a possibility of maybe a move lower. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. Is even though we're getting bullish price action, we are still inside the I guess the stronghold of these sellers here, right? We have not made a new high here. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 4-hour chart. Okay, 4-hour chart, just to get some more visibility here. We're going to turn off the initial balance here for a moment and kind of drill in and take a closer look at what this market is doing. Again, guys, like I said, we are right now grinding. Okay, this is not a strong impulsive move to the upside, right? This is not a move to the upside with confidence. This is for me, it looks like a very kind of tenuous kind of move to the upside, right? Okay, if we need to go up, we'll go up, but I'm not really convinced. Okay, that's kind of how it feels like to me. Okay, so we are seeing a little bit of bullish, price action to the upside. We are breaking some structure here to the upside. We have our price is above our VWAP and above our EMA, above our point of control. All things indicating that maybe there is some more upside opportunities. We are just not accelerating in that level. We're not accelerating in that way, right? Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 30-minute chart. All right, looking at the 30-minute chart, you can see that we've gotten a little bit in the way of some overlapping candles, indicating that we are in some sort of range in this market. We're going to go ahead and open up the fixed range volume profile. We're going to take a look at the start of the session yesterday and kind of work our way to today, okay, and see what kind of where price is in relation. And you can see here, we're just hovering at the top end of value. No one is willing to pay, or no one is willing to add to their position here necessarily, right? That's not what I wanted. Let's wanted to draw. Oh, there it is. Okay, I wanted to draw a little. This is the line I wanted to draw here. Okay, so here you are. We're up against the value area high from yesterday. We closed above it. Is this going to be? Are we going to find new buyers to drive price higher? Okay, or are buyers going to dry up here? And is price going to maybe rotate right lower to find more buyers? Okay, right now price is above our 90 MA, above VWAP, and above settlement. So a little bit, I mean, we are a little bit extended from VWAP. You know how I feel about that, right? Anytime we get too far from VWAP, I feel like price needs to come back and touch it, right? Have you hugged your VWAP today, right? Yes, either you're very nimble or no trade, correct, right? Exactly, right? So let's take a look here at the initial balance and see what the various markets were able to do with this. Okay, so here we are looking at Asia, right? Looking at Asia, Asia managed, right? Heading into the New York session. Asia, tail end of Asia, start of London, managed to take the market higher. Okay, we broke above and we are in a bullish trend. Cannot deny that, right? Price remains above 90 MA, right? We can't overthink it, right? We have to trade the market we have, right? And the market we have right now, at least on the shorter time frame, is a market that appears to be in some sort of bullish trend. Okay, looking at the London again, looking at London, not again similar, right? We broke above, have not been able to accelerate above, but we haven't accelerated low either. We remain above the initial balance high of London. Now, right, the longer we stay here without making a new high, I would say provides us maybe a little bit more evidence that maybe they will take it lower. Yeah, Asia came alive after lunch, right? So right now, as long as we stay above the initial balance high, I would say that there's still, opportunities maybe that we continue to the upside. Okay. If we break 25,050, then maybe we open the door to come back down to 25,000. Okay. And maybe all the way down to point of control, which is also the settlement price from yesterday. Okay. So I'm not really, so again, price remains bullish. Can I see maybe a pullback? Yes. So headed into the market, I need more evidence from the participants to tell me which direction they want to take it. And the participants may never come. They may decide, you know what, I really don't have a direction for this market. I'm gonna wait and see, kind of how things play out with the tariffs or what have you. I need some sort of catalyst that will give me something to kind of decide on which direction I want to take this. Okay. All right. Let's go through these other markets because we have about 15 minutes before the start of the session here, and I want to get through. Oh, there's my lazy lion photos from yesterday. Let's move those away here for now. All right. As part of my discussion that we had yesterday. Okay. Let's remove some of my drawings. Okay. Oops, there goes a lazy lion. Off he goes back to bed. So here we are, similar to the NASDAQ. We have candles that are continuing to look to maybe potentially head higher. Market does appear to be in some sort of range. Again, we have that red ominous candle that we had as a result of the news around tariffs. Price remains just the same kind of analysis we've been talking about with the NASDAQ. Looking at the 4-hour, again, we seem to be trying to staircase our way higher. I would say, not very impressive on the volume side, right? We are staircasing higher because we have something, we need to do something, right? Not very impressive volume, right? Headed in a direction bullish, right? So it's telling me that they're not, overly convinced that that's necessarily the direction they want to take this, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at the 30 minutes. Let's do the same kind of analysis we did with the NASDAQ, with the ES. And let's open up our fixed range volume profile for the start of the session. We'll drag that to the close of the session here and see what we have. So you can see, unlike the NASDAQ, price has not made it above value from yesterday. We actually are inside balance in some sort of bullish trend. So we're inside balance in some sort of bullish trend. Now, are we going to be able to get above 67.50? If we get above 67.50, 67.50 could serve as a location or a springboard for maybe further price action to the upside. As I mentioned with the NASDAQ, the ES also seems to be a little bit extended here to the upside. We have settlement price that has not been visited since it made its move higher, right? Would not be, if we are going to remain in range, it would not be out of the realm of possibility for price to come back and revisit settlement, right? If we're going to remain in range, right? If we're going to head higher, and that's kind of what it's looking like it wants to do here, we're going to stay above the 9 EMA, and we're going to stay above VWAP if we're going to head higher, right? Let's take a quick look at the initial balance and see what the initial balance. So again, initial balance, we have price hovering right at the edge of initial balance on the London side. And then taking a look at Asia, Asia also looks like provided some sort of extension here to the upside. We've reached the 200% extension. We had to wait for it, right? This didn't come easy. All right. This was like 8 hours of waiting. Okay. Until for a 1 hour, not 1 hour, but this is 8 hours worth of price action, all to the upside. Okay. So a lot of buyers. Yeah, after lunch, a lot of buyers here in Asia. Okay, a lot of buyers in Asia right now. London. I don't know. Maybe they're accumulating. Maybe they're getting ready for a similar move. Okay, but right now it's hovering right at the edge of initial balance. Okay, initial balance high. So are we going to get an extension from London? Possibly. Could it take us back to the highs of Wednesday? Possibly, right? This would be a logical target, right? Right here, just the highs, right? Highs of Wednesday, right? That would be a reasonable target to maybe for this current move. So that's a possibility, and I can use initial balance high as kind of my reference level. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and take a peek at the Dow here as our final market, and we'll start off with the daily. And again, similar to the other markets, I'm going to go ahead and remove some of my drawings. Okay, again, similar to the other markets, you can see that we are inside these set of bearish candles here. We are driving higher, but these candles are not very impressive, to say the least. Wicks on both ends. We are moving higher, but it's not overly strong. Okay, wicks on both ends, and even the volume delta bar is not overly strong. Okay. Looking at the 4-hour chart. Okay. So 4-hour chart, we're going to go ahead and remove our initial balance here. And again, you can see that we are still very much inside the swing here. We did make an attempt to go higher, only to be met with sellers. Okay. So we did try to break some structure here to the upside, found some sellers. They tried to drive price lower, found some buyers. So a very contentious area right around the point of control right now. A little bit of a tug of war going on between the buyers and the sellers in this market. Very obvious as we hang around the point of control. Okay. So looking at the 30-minute chart, again, you can see that price actually managed to get down to settlement from yesterday. So there, the Dow is maybe a little bit of ahead of the game than say the NASDAQ and the ES. We haven't got that swing back down to settlement like we have in the Dow. Okay, we have currently price below our 9 EMA, kind of in this kind of range We're going to take a look at the initial balance ranges here and see what the various markets were able to do with this. So London really wasn't able to do all that much with it to the upside. Tokyo managed to take it higher, got to the 200% extension, but London doesn't seem to be all that interested at the moment in the Dow, right? So we got price to go rotate back through now, right? We have price below, technically below our 9 and around our VWAP. It did react nicely off of settlement, which could lead to maybe a leg higher, right? But I need to see price get above the initial balance range. And ultimately, I needed to get above this 46,675 before I'm willing to entertain maybe a long here, right? First order of business needs to get above initial balance from London and see maybe we get another leg higher. We got a nice reaction, right? Nice reaction off of this area here, off of settlement, right? And now price is looking to maybe head higher. Okay. All right. So let's take one final pass here, guys, across all the markets. Just kind of summarize where we're at. Well, surprise, surprise, looking to maybe for additional bullish price action in the gold. Got a nice reaction. Okay. Nice reaction off initial balance high here on London, right? We came back down, hit the VWAP, and off we go. All right. So I would say gold continues to be bullish. Crude oil, poor crude oil, continues to show signs of weakness. Right now, we're getting a little bit of a candle here that might indicate. But again, like I said, I'm not really embracing all the longs all that much. Okay. I think the market continues to be bearish. I would look to maybe to find some levels here where I can maybe participate in this market to the downside. May not be down at the lows, but I'm going to be looking to see maybe these levels above me could offer me something that I can entertain to the downside. Okay. And then the equities, I would say is kind of a little bit of mixed bag here. Again, the Dow has already made this move to the downside. Okay. So I don't know if the Dow is kind of leading us, right? But I'm a little hesitant to go long. I see a little bit of momentum here, momentum slowdown here to the upside. So I would say that maybe the natural course for this market is to at least maybe get back down to settlement, at least down to VWAP. Okay. So while the market is still above my 90 MA, which indicates bullish, maybe we get a move to this area down below. Okay. The Dow has already reached that level. Okay. That's kind of what I'm seeing in the NASDAQ. ES, I think, is giving us a similar picture, right? We have settlement below us, similar kind of view. And then the Dow, okay, it looks like the Dow has already reached that level and responded off of it. Okay. So let's bring up the Dow. Right. You see how it came down to this settlement price and reacted away from it. So I don't know. I don't know if the Dow is kind of leading the market today, right? But I'm not really necessarily embracing the longs here. Okay. But I do need to see some evidence, right, that they are going to indeed take this lower. Okay. All right. I think that's about what I have for you guys today. Like I said, gold continues to show signs of strength. I think crude oil, we need to find areas to continue to sell. The equities, I would say, are still technically bullish, but I'm going to be looking maybe for some opportunities, maybe to the downside in the equity markets, maybe an opportunity that will take me down to settlement. Doesn't seem like a bad deal here. I can manage my risk here because looks like this value area high is serving as some level of resistance. The fact is I don't like it necessarily hanging out here for a long period of time. I don't mind it, but eventually I need to see, some sort of indication that they want to take it lower. So I would say neutral to maybe potentially bearish in the equity markets. Okay. Dow seems to be maybe kind of leading the charge here on the direction. I see that the NASDAQ and the ES are probably a little bit lagging on some of the price moves that we've already seen in the Dow. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I think that's pretty much it for me. I'm just gonna again encourage you, if you haven't already, to hit the like button. Okay, trade safe, trade well, trade like a pro, be a market trader. Yes, sir. And yes, Coach Ray, the lazy lion. Absolutely. All right. So Sam Lin will be in contact and see what we can do on producing some merchandise. Okay. All right, Dirk. All right, Aslan. Have an excellent session, guys, and we'll talk again mañana. Okay. Have an excellent. Yeah. Be that lazy lion. Wait for that. Wait for levels. Wait for price levels, and then pounce. Okay. All right, guys. Have an excellent day, and we'll talk again soon.